I've been thinking of going to see a spiritual healer with a local person. Would you recommend this? So if you're called to seek support on your motherhood journey, just listen to your intuition. If it's a spiritual healer, then go for it. You're going to know what's best for you. I really encourage for everyone to just kind of go within and find out what kind of support that you need. I think the most unhelpful thing is to try to go at it alone and try to figure this out yourself, because it is very difficult for you to figure out what is either slowing your progress down or what's blocking you. You do need someone else to give you to give you another opinion, unbiased opinion. And so it's really helpful to seek some sort of support, that someone who you can trust and who you can see on a long-term basis. So whether it's a spiritual healer or someone else, I really, really highly recommend it. If you're going to see a spiritual healer, or really anyone, whoever you're seeking support with, be intentional about why you're seeking their help. I say this specifically for spiritual healer just because I think, people have, I don't know, I could be wrong. It's like, oh, just heal me. It's like, okay, but what is it that you want to get out of it? Healing you, it needs to be, it's a little too broad. And so you do need to be very intentional about what it is that you're going in. Know why you're going. So while the spiritual healers can help you to some capacity, they're not going to be Jesus. They're not going to be able to pull out their spiritual toolbox and fix you, right? So, and I don't mean it to sound like you're broken or anything. It's just, I think a lot of people go to spiritual healers because they feel like maybe there's something wrong, or I would just look at it more from a perspective of you just need an extra boost, another pair of eyes, to another perspective to give you to give you a different viewpoint of your particular situation and what could be preventing you from getting pregnant. So they are there to assist you. They are not there to do everything for you. You have to fix yourself by doing the internal work, so it doesn't absolve you of what you need to do for yourself. And so the tendency is for people, and I've seen this with some of my clients, not so much with my clients. I used to see it earlier on in my career when I was an acupuncturist. They would come to me for acupuncture, and then they would want me to fix everything for them, but there was still stuff that they had to do themselves in order to really get to achieve their goals. So don't ever have a mindset that someone else is going to do it for you. They're only there as an adjunct, as a supplement, okay? Doing the internal work for women on the motherhood journey, for most women in their 40s on the baby journey, that means trusting yourself. It means trusting your body, trusting your intuition. It means trusting in universe or God, whatever you resonate with, and you trust divine timing. That is really critical, is having that trust in the timing of things, of being okay with where you are. And so going to a spiritual healer can help you with expanding your patience, with growing that patience, with growing that belief and that trust in yourself. And so if you get that benefit from a spiritual healer, then definitely that would be marvelous. Since I personally believe in empowering myself and others, and that's really what I teach, I recommend people learn to do their own spiritual healing so that you recognize your own patterns of thoughts and behaviors. If you have others heal you, which they can be very effective at, you won't know why you're where you are. And then the patterns are going to remain, and it's going to continue the cycle that you're in, or it's going to bring something else in the future that is rooted in the same causes. So work with a spiritual healer if you're called to it, but do your own work as well. You have to do your own homework, okay? You can't give it to someone else. If you want extra support, I always recommend, without any reservation, to all of my clients, my coaching clients, my one-on-one clients, I always recommend that they work with a local acupuncturist at minimum. Preferably someone who has herbal experience, if that's available to you. Local herbalists are harder to find once you go outside the big metropolitan cities, so don't worry about it if you can't find someone who prescribes herbs. Go to an acupuncturist at least. I'm an acupuncturist and an herbalist by training, and I had a practice for over 20 years, so I can tell you with certainty that they help. The main thing about it is you want to stick with it for at least, you want to give it at least 3 months before you evaluate whether or not it's something that you want to continue. Most of my clients continue with it for as long as their journey is. I just tell them, you know, as long as you like your acupuncturist, you like the treatment, you have no problem with the treatment, then just go to it. Make it, it's like a exercise, like a workout that you go to. You go to the gym. You just don't think about it. You do it. And so if you're new to acupuncture and you're not sure about it, then give it 3 months. Then you can evaluate. And so, and see whether or not you get any benefits. For fertility, you're more than likely not going to get huge benefits in terms of a physical reaction, physical improvement, because fertility is, it's such a subtle condition, and it's not like you're going to feel your eggs improving or anything like that. So what you would be noticing for would be an improvement in energy level and mood. Your mood is more stable. You are able to feel less stressed or relax more. Those are probably the more common improvements that people say that they get. If you have menstrual irregularities or any menstrual issues, then the acupuncture should be helping with that as well. So just make it a part of your routine. I recommend once a week. I find that if you go twice a week, people get burned out. So it's more important to be consistent with it long term, which means less frequent, and less frequent means once a week, not twice a week. I just don't find people are able to stick with that long enough for it to be of any benefit. So it's more about the long-term consistency. So once a week. Anything less than that, like I know some people want to go like twice a month or something like that. I personally don't find it to be very, very helpful. Honestly, I told my clients in the past if they were going to do that, it's just, you know, don't bother. It doesn't seem to do very much. Okay. The main thing with it is with acupuncture or any of the more energetic techniques and strategies, don't keep questioning if it's working or not. Just have the faith that it works because it does, even if you don't see it. I mean, there's a reason why acupuncture has been around for far longer than modern medicine. It's been around for thousands of years. There's a reason why spiritual healing and energy work has been around since the beginning of time, right? They work. And it's just that we don't necessarily and often see them work right away and see the shifts right away. It's much more subtle. And so I had so many clients come to me without any changes in how they felt or their symptoms for months, actually even years. And they just came because they trusted me. And because of that trust in me and in my abilities, you know, they were able to get pregnant. So I would just recommend that you also give your acupuncturist or your spiritual healer that same trust and that faith in their abilities as well. There's a reason why, you know, it's their profession. They must be pretty good at it to some level. Okay. So when you're finding someone to work with, they should support you in your goals. It defeats the purpose of seeking them out when they don't believe that you can do it. Like believe that you're able to have your baby in your 40s. It's very demotivating, and you certainly don't need that energy. And it would be like me hiring a personal trainer, and then they're telling me that no matter what I do, I'm not going to be able to get fit. And then at that point, it's like, well, why am I coming here, right? You really want to be able to work with someone who can support you in, you know, moving towards your goal and achieving your goals. So this isn't so much of an issue with spiritual healers and energy workers and acupuncturists. It's much more of an issue with doctors, who often are the actual cause of the doubts and the anxiety that you have when you're over 40 and wanting to have a baby. If you have to work with a doctor, so I do, first of all, I do recommend that you try to find a doctor who will support you and whose office staff also supports you. That can be difficult, I know, especially if you're in an area where you don't have a lot of choices. So if you have to work with a doctor who casts a shadow on your goal, who just kind of plants doubt in you, don't allow yourself to get entangled emotionally with them. At that point, you want to think of them as just a service provider, like a plumber. There's no shade to plumbers. Thank you for being there when I need you. The point is, you don't need to like your plumber to hire him. You hire him to provide a service and to do their job. So it's the same with your doctors. If they're not super supportive, or hopefully they're not actively negating your goal and saying you can't do it. Hopefully they're not that extreme, but if they're not super supportive, just reframe it so that you're thinking about it as you're hiring them to provide a service, whether it's IVF or insemination. No more, no less. You're not getting any counseling from them. You're not getting any empathy, not any love from them. You're just going in for a service. Don't bring your emotions and your expectations into your relationship, right? So change your expectation of your relationship to your doctor and also to the office, because this also means the support staff, like the people answering the phone calls, the physician's assistants, the nurses and stuff. You might, get kind of subtle negativity from there, just kind of by the way that they say things, even if it's not outright. So just change your relationship with them. It's the attitude of you're going in for something and then you get out as quickly as possible. Just be very neutral in terms of bringing in your attitude when you go into the office, and even in preparation to going into the office. Just be very neutral. It's like, I just need to go in to get my blood test, to get my ultrasound, to get inseminated, to get my eggs retrieved. That's it. It's just kind of very neutral, it's very clinical, just keep it very clinical. And then when you do that, you can still go to them even if they aren't very supportive of you. And I find that this is probably the best strategy for those of you who are working with doctors who just aren't really big cheerleaders of what you're doing. And so ideally you create a support team around you that is as supportive as you can get, because the more supportive that they are of you, the more likely you will be successful. And so that, that's just a general rule in life, and it applies to your career, to your family, and it also applies to the motherhood journey. So just be very mindful of that. Okay. So I hope that you found this video helpful. Like and subscribe to get notified of new videos on this channel. I'm Julie Chang, and I'm here to help women in their 40s manifest their baby.